Thank the moons. Zaji was worried you left with the tide. Lady Arabelle sent this one with urgent news. Well, Lady Arabelle doesn't exactly trust Zaji with all the details, but she did impress upon Zaji that she had urgent matters to discuss with you. So, she sent Zaji to find you. Oh, she said, Zaji, I have urgent matters to discuss with our friend. Go find them, dear, and tell them to come talk to me at Mandrake Manor. That's exactly how she said it. Ask Casca, she heard it too. Come to think of it, this must be about the peace talks. Queen Irene and the other leaders are quite annoyed that the talks haven't started yet. Hurry, friend. Go to Mandrake Manor and tell Lady Arabelle that Zaji sent you, just like she asked. No, and Queen Irene grows more annoyed with every rise and fall of the sun. Inactivity pains her. Lord Bacaro keeps delaying, and Lady Arabelle isn't sure what to do. But these are details that Zaji isn't aware of. You should talk to her.
Ah, good to see you, my dear. Zaji found you, I take it. Come, we have much to discuss. I'm glad Zaji found you. Sometimes he actually manages to surprise me. You've already done so much. I hesitate to ask, but Lord Bacaro is reluctant to move forward with the peace talks while the Ascendant Order remains a threat. The Ascendant Lord and his minions are still out there somewhere. Lord Bacaro is hesitant to proceed when an attack could occur at any moment, but I can't keep the Alliance leaders here much longer. Their patience with the situation grows thin. They are a proud and fickle lot, but they have one thing in common, dear. They respect you. Go to the city palace and talk to them. Ask them to remain patient. Then speak to Lord Bacaro. See if you can convince him to let me get things started. Find the Alliance leaders at Gonfalon Palace and convince them to wait just a little longer. After that, look for Lord Bacaro at the city's western docks. He's been there for days, overseeing the Society of the Steadfast Relief efforts for Galen. According to the reports I received, you were there, my dear. You saw firsthand the destruction at Vastir, the rumblings from Ifilon. The Society of the Steadfast is sending aid to the islands as quickly as their ships can make the journey.
They've separated us, have us under constant guard. I feel like a prisoner. And all because Lord Bacaro wants to maintain the sanctity of his peace talks. But I want to hear your news. Where have you been, my friend? Druids and sea elves? Huh. Impressive as always. And have you learned anything more about the Ascendant Order and its mysterious lord? Yes, yes. For a Breton noble, Lady Arabelle seems quite competent. I know my father trusts her, despite her ties to Emmerich and the Covenant. We'll get to it. I can't wait to get out of this room so we can finally start talking.
I used to enjoy my visits to the archipelago. It was a welcome change from the hustle and bustle of my court. But because of the Ascendant Order, I'm practically a prisoner in here. But tell me, what have you been up to? More druidic traitors? I really must have a talk with their elders. And they were working with sea elves. That's not an alliance I would have predicted. But what about the Ascendant Order? Any sign of them or their lord? Aha, Arabelle. She's never failed me yet. Give her whatever help she requires. I haven't spoken to Irene or Ernskar since the celebration. I think I actually miss them. The guards are overly protective of us and we've had practically no contact. No, Lord Bacaro wants the peace talks to occur under controlled conditions. He's worried that if left to our own devices, we'd start another war. And I can't say he's wrong. We're all a bit hot-headed and stubborn, if you hadn't noticed.
Do you bring news, my friend? Is Lord Bacaro ready to summon us so we can finally engage in the discussions of peace? Well, that's something, at least. I swear, though, if something doesn't change soon, I'm going to call for Captain Zarji and return to my own domain. I've been absent long enough as it is. Locked away for my safety is not what I had imagined when I agreed to attend this conference. I'll abide a little longer, but my royal patience is growing quite thin. Go, my friend. End the threat so we can get to the business that brought us here.
Let's get these supplies on board. The people of Galen need our assistance.
I'll take care of things here on High Isle in your absence, Lord Bacaro. May the Society's efforts on Galen bring the people of Vestir some relief.
Haha! The defender of the three thrones and the savior of the sisters. I'm afraid you've caught me at a bad time. The Society of the Steadfast is needed in Vestir, and my ship is ready to depart. I decided... Lady Arabelle uses every weapon in her arsenal. I suppose that's why I hired her. But the timing isn't right, my friend. I was about to send word to Lady Arabelle. My scouts reported new Ascendant Order activity at the Dufort shipyards. I sent a messenger there to confirm these reports, but they have yet to return. After you discovered that her brother was the Ascendant Magus and killed him, Duchess Alea claimed no involvement. She was stoic in her grief and assured me her brother acted without her permission or foreknowledge. If you're still working with Arabelle, then you can look into the validity of this threat. Discover what became of my messenger at the Dufort shipyards. That...
Terrible news! Lady Arabelle has succumbed to some unknown malady. She's upstairs in bed waiting for you.
Welcome back, dear. And wipe that expression off your face. I'm not dead yet.
Lady Arabelle, you need to rest. I came as quickly as I could when I received Zaji's message. I've done what I can, but... you should talk to Lady Arabelle. She won't rest until she explains what happened.
I want to hear all about your conversations with the Alliance leaders and Lord Bacaro, dear. But I think we need to deal with this situation I find myself in first, if that's all right with you. Poison, I should think. It has all the usual signs. Right after you left, I received a package. My favorite wine. And a note of congratulations for saving the Alliance leaders. I should have known better than to pour a glass, but here we are. The note was suspiciously vague about that. If I hadn't been tired and thinking about 12 dozen other things, that should have set off a warning bell. Instead, no matter. Tell me, is Lord Bacaro ready to start the peace talks? How can that be? Duchess Alea assured me she had retaken control of her shipyards. We'll deal with that later. Right now, I need you to figure out where that package came from. Determine who wants me out of the way. Nothing has been touched. Everything is still exactly where I left it. Examine the note and bottle carefully. See if you can trace them back to their origin. And talk to Ravana. She's been working to identify the poison and figure out an antidote. My life is more orphan than you might expect, actually. Comes with the territory. I am rather famous, dear. Still, I should have been more careful. I can't afford to make a mistake like that again. People who send expensive gifts usually want to take credit. Just guesses. I suspected the Ascendant Lord, but your news about the Dufort shipyards concerns me. Did we misjudge Duchess Alea? Was she working with her brother? Is she part of the Ascendant Order? We need evidence before we can make an accusation. Aside from the anonymous signature, it's the same as other notes I've received. Any distinctive markings on the bottle, dear?
Lady Arabelle is fortunate that Zaji sent for me, and not one of the Society of the Steadfast's Menders. They wouldn't have been able to counteract the poison. This poison smells slightly of garlic, and has all the earmarks of a druidic compound, but its effects remind me of much older recipes. No healer without druidic training would have even recognized some of the ingredients that make up the poison. No. But I have given Lady Arabelle a tincture that will keep her stable and slow down the poison's most deadly effects. I need to return to my workshop, analyze the components, and consult my ancient herbal apothecary. I'm sure I've seen just what Lady Arabelle asked. Discover where the poisoned wine came from and who sent it. I'll leave more of my tincture with Zaji and give him exact instructions. Then I need to go do research of my own. Meet me at my workshop as soon as you can.
Oh, I really hate being so impotent. Ravana tells me her tincture defers the worst effects of the poison, but I still feel weak. Like my blood is on fire. Enough of my problems. Tell me what you saw when you examined the note and the bottle. Let me guess. The 571 vintage. I'd be hard-pressed to refuse such an exquisite wine. Ashcroft's Fine Goods and Imports. Only place on the island that might have any bottles available, other than the Duchess's private stores. Go talk to them, dear. Ask for Filian Ashcroft, the proprietor. He knows me well and keeps a spot in Bayside Artisans here in town. And while Ravana works on an antidote, I'll send Zaji to make sure the Alliance leaders don't accept any mysterious gifts.
Welcome to Ashcroft's Fine Goods and Imports. I am Filian Ashcroft, proprietor and expert on all things luxurious and exquisite. What might I help you with today? Let me see. Yes, a fine vintage. Very fine indeed. I may have sold a bottle or two recently, but I don't make a habit of discussing my clients' orders. What is this about, if I may be so bold? What? I had no idea! Lady Arabelle is one of my best customers. I swear on my reputation, that wine left this shop unaltered. In fact, I only made one sale that included this particular vintage recently. It was a rather large order, in fact. Oh, this is awkward. Castle Navir's seneschal placed the order, claimed he needed to replenish the cellars for Duchess Alea, and demanded I sell back the wine I had purchased from them. That exact vintage, to be precise. You'll want to talk to them.
Lady Arabelle's assistant? How good to see you again. But I don't remember your name on my schedule today. Did we have an appointment? Do tell. Well, go ahead. After everything you've done for the people of the archipelago, you've earned the right to be direct with me. Lady Arabelle poisoned? Is she all right? But what was that about wine? I haven't placed any orders recently. Not while the castle is still in disrepair. And I haven't appointed a new seneschal since that trouble with Steward Hercian. Again? I thought my knights ran them off after that terrible business with my brother. Thank you for bringing me the news. I'll send a battalion to deal with them right away. I know how this must look, but I am not in league with those malcontents. Did he? Well, I want the Ascendant Lord brought to justice, the same as you. That wine that poisoned Lady Arabelle, was it a Dufort Singular Amber, vintage 571? I received a similar gift this morning. It's in the Knight Commander's private chamber. The Knight Commander insisted that the anonymous gift be tested before I consumed so much as a drop. It's in her private chamber, waiting for one of my handmaidens to come by and taste it. Feel free to perform your own investigation. There's not much to say. It arrived without fanfare, with an anonymous note. The vintage was my father's favorite. He was still new to his role as Duke when the vineyard turned out those precious bottles. We depleted our own stores of that vintage a long time ago. But everyone at court knows I was fond of that wine. We opened a bottle once a year to celebrate my father and the elevation of House Dufort. I was quite sad when we uncorked the last one. What do you think? Did someone send me the same gift that poisoned poor Lady Arabelle? As we discussed, and you no doubt noticed, the letter was unsigned. My Knight Commander insisted on having someone else taste the wine before she would allow any to pass my lips. I'm just glad... Hold on. Earlier you mentioned that the shopkeep claimed that my seneschal placed an order for a large amount of wine. While we did no such thing, one of my sentries informed me that a courier had arrived with an unscheduled delivery. Then your answer may be right outside. I told the sentry to have them wait by the jousting tents until I was ready to deal with the mix-up. Talk to the courier, and find out who hired them to deliver the incriminating bottles of wine to my castle. Someone has gone to a lot of trouble to try and remove both myself and Lady Arabelle from the table, while also focusing the blame for this all on me. Speak to the courier, and get some answers. Or I will. To sow confusion and weaken House Dufort, of course. And to further delay the peace talks. Perhaps even scuttle them completely. I have political rivals, but none who would stoop to murder. If I had to guess, this is the work of the Ascendant Order. I fear we'll find the Ascendant Lord's hand on the tiller of most of the recent events that have plagued the archipelago. Call it a feeling deep in my bones. In the meantime, talk to this courier and see what they reveal about whoever hired them.
Are you from the castle? Can I finally make my delivery and be done with this damn job? Ashcrofts? No. Some hooded figures hired me to take some crates to an isolated spot up north. That's where I met another hooded figure. He helped unload my wagon, gave me the crates for Castle Navir, and told me to make the delivery. No names. Just enough gold to make me not want to ask any questions. You did hear me say we were in an isolated location, right? But if it helps, they were definitely wearing armor under their hooded cloaks. Knight armor. Right below the cliffs of Garrick's Rest. Look, I know how all this sounds, but I needed this job. Courier work has been hard to come by since the trouble here and on Galen. All I know is I delivered one set of crates and received another for Navir.
Five Claw! Zaji has found you! Lady Arabelle wasn't improving, so Zaji went to find Druid Revana. Do not worry, Five Claw. Casca stands guard at Mandrake Manor. Instead of giving this one more medicine, Revana sent me to find you. Druid Revana wants you to come to her workshop right away. Do you know where it is? Just west of Gonfalon Bay and north of Druid's Gate. When you see her, remind her that Lady Arabelle still needs the antidote. That makes Zaji feel much better. It was good to get out of the manor and do something. All this waiting makes Zaji's ears itch. This one will head back to the manor and make sure Lady Arabelle is taking her tincture.
Ah, there you are. I hope you've had more success than I, my friend. I thought that I'd be able to replicate an antidote using some of the old recipes in my ancient herbal apothecary, but nothing I've concocted thus far has worked. This poison is proving very resistant to our tried and true elixirs. That's just it. I identified the various plants, root, stem, and leaf, but they aren't those plants. Not exactly. Neither did I, at least not at first. But after careful study, I can see that someone with extensive agricultural knowledge created new and more potent versions of the rare plants used to prepare the poison. Oh, did you discover who sent the wine? Garrick's Rest. Strange magic saturates the wildlife around those ruins. If that's the source of the poison, I'll need samples to craft an antidote. Meet me there. I fear we could be dealing with another rogue druid, and a powerful one at that. We'll need to proceed carefully once we get to Garrick's Rest. If we are dealing with a powerful druid, we won't be able to avoid them for long. Friend, look. It appears something heavy was dragged up and down this hill recently. A door. That's definitely where whatever made the marks came from. Be careful. I don't think we're alone down here. We didn't expect the Ascendant Order to wither away, but I had no idea its roots ran so deep. And it seems they have crept into our most trusted circles. Someone at Steadfast Manor diverted this armor shipment here. Let's review what we uncovered. We know that the Ascendant Lord allied with factions of the Eldertide and Firesong circles, but to actively promote a sacred druidic prophecy to gain followers to his cause. What about those crates we found? Armor that the Ascendant Order can use to impersonate Steadfast Knights. I know Captain Marguerite by reputation. We must talk to her about the shipments. But first, I still need to gather samples of the plants used to make the poison. And I assume the key we found will grant us access to this alchemical garden. Then I can craft an antidote for Lady Arabelle. She and Lord Bakara will know how to best handle this situation once she recovers from the poison. A druid alchemist's workshop. Let's look around.
Intruders, here's how we deal with pests in my garden.
That's what I was looking for. A sister's cave bloom. But I've never seen one with quite that color before. I'll take a sample. With these, I should be able to craft an antidote. What did you find over there? I gathered enough of the plant to craft an antidote for Lady Arabelle. She will soon be on her way to a full recovery. Did you find... That's a shard of the green. I've never seen an intact one before. Long ago, druids used them to protect sacred locations. The practice withered like leaves on a dying vine, mostly because they were so hard to come by. Hang on to that for now. Now we do exactly what Lady Arabelle would want us to. We follow the clues. Head to Steadfast Manor. We need to talk to Captain Marguerite. I'll meet you there after I start the preparations for the antidote.
That will be all, Sentry. But what's this? A druid and Lady Arabelle's assistant.
Forgive the intrusion, Captain. My friend will explain.
What brings a druid and Lady Arabelle's most trusted assistant to Steadfast Manor? I'm afraid Lord Bakara is still on Galen, leading the relief efforts there. Is there something I can help you with? Interesting. I was informed that those crates were lost at sea, but I suspected there was more going on than a simple accident. Add to that the minor thefts and intruders my knights keep running off, it seems the Ascendant Order has targeted us. You say you found this with the Ascendant Order? That's one of Lord Bakaro's most prized possessions. He usually keeps it down in the cellars with his collection of trinkets from his adventuring days. Those thieves were bolder than I thought. Claiming the Society provides aid to those in need, but it's evident that the Ascendant Order stole from us. You're Lady Arabelle's investigator. Would you check the cellars and help me determine how those thieves got past our security? Take this key. It will open the door to the cellars. Just follow the path to the north toward the dock. If the Ascendant Order is stealing from the Society of the Steadfast, we need to know how and why. The Society of the Steadfast's primary charter involves providing relief to those unfortunate enough to be caught up in war or disaster. Galen was recently rocked by both brutal assaults and volcanic activity. We're sending supplies and healers. Not officially, no, but Lord Bakaro tells me everything. I handle the day-to-day workings of the Society of the Steadfast and command our small contingent of knights. When Lord Bakaro travels, I oversee operations at Steadfast Manor.
That empty sconce. See the druid symbols carved into it? Check if the shard fits into the socket. Just as I suspected, a hidden door. Let's see what other secrets this manor is hiding. A passage leading deeper beneath the manor. Let's see what Lord Bacaro is hiding down here. A druid circle. And an ancient one by the looks of it. I want to get a closer look. Down there. Let's get a closer look. Those carvings. Definitely druidic. Armor. It looks just like the Ascendant Lord, doesn't it? What's the connection here? Why does the Ascendant Order care about this place? And why does Lord Bacaro have a suit of the Ascendant Lord's armor? What? But Lord Bacaro is a man of peace. Why secretly control the very order of rogue knights that are actively trying to destroy everything he's worked for? I don't understand. So he helped foster the conflicts on Galen, then stepped in to help with the Steadfast after the dust settled, all while making alliances with the victors. But his plans failed. No new druid king has been crowned. Let me see that. Could this be accurate? Could Lord Baccaro be a direct descendant of Druid King Cassarain? Oh no. The carvings. I think I know why this place is important to Lord Baccaro. Examine the carvings. I'll explain what I see in them. Do you see? That's a stylized rendition of the Ivy Throne, with the Druid King's regalia, the crown, staff, and gauntlet below it. Carved above the throne. That's the heraldry of House Mershad. So, Lord Baccaro, the Ascendant Lord, believes he's descended from the last Druid King through his mother's bloodline. He wants to become the Druid King and re-establish the Ivy Throne. That's why he went to Galen. He needs the Druid King's regalia. In and of themselves, the regalia have no innate power. They're symbols, nothing more. However, the very fact that the sacred seeds have been regrown into the crown, staff, and gauntlet give credence to the prophecy of the Druid King. The dream of Cassarain. The Druids of the archipelago have debated its meaning since it was first uttered so long ago. With the regalia. So, Lord, in and of themselves, the dream of Cassarain. The prophecy holds deep significance for Druids. We've been waiting for its promise to manifest for a long, long time. We have to hurry. I must administer the antidote to Lady Arabelle and warn her of this betrayal. Meet me back at Mandrake Manor. Captain Marguerite's reputation is impeccable, and she seemed unaware of all this. But the same could be said about Lord Baccaro. Until we determine how far this corruption has spread into the Society of the Steadfast, we keep this to ourselves. Lady Arabelle, drink this. It will neutralize the poison. We discovered the source of the poison, and something more. Our friend will tell you.
I knew you wouldn't let me down. Tell me what you uncovered, dear. Ugh, couldn't you have added a touch of cinnamon or honey to this, Ravana? No matter. I assume I will be hale and hearty again before long. Now, enough with the suspense. Tell me what you've uncovered, dear. The poison must have affected my hearing. Did you say Lord Baccaro is the Ascendant Lord? How can that be? He sponsored the peace talks. He started the Society of the Steadfast, which has done nothing but good for the archipelago and the mainland. Looking at things from this perspective puts the delays and how the Ascendant Order has managed to stay one step ahead of us in a very different light. But why go through all this trouble? What is Lord Baccaro actually planning? I feel better already. Well done, dear Ravana. As for this business about the Druid King, I read the reports from Galen. Some Druids truly believe that the Ivy Throne would be an improvement over the Ruby one. But all this chaos and murder... We've been hesitant for too long, unsure of where the next attack would come from. Now we know. It's coming from inside our circle. From someone we considered an ally, a friend. Take this, my friend. We'll deal with Baccaro soon enough. I can't in good conscience start the peace talks while the Ascendant Lord, the man I knew as Lord Baccaro, is out there doing who knows what. I'm afraid I need your help again, my friend. We must keep the Druid King's regalia out of Baccaro's hands. Then we must assume that Count Stefan and Druid Laurel are in danger. If Lord Bacaro truly believes he's the heir to the Ivy Throne of the Druids, he'll stop at nothing to get his way. We must go to Galen and defend the remaining regalia. Druid Ravana and I will get Zaji to sail us to Galen. While we collect the staff from the Stonelore Circle, I want you to go to Count Stefan and protect the Druid King's crown. We'll meet you at Castle Mornard as soon as we can. I'll leave Captains Colleen and Suzo to guard the Alliance leaders while we go to Galen. First we protect the regalia, then we stop Lord Bacaro, or the Ascendant Lord, or whatever he calls himself. Now, get to Vastir and protect the crown.
Search the castle. If there are more rogue knights, I want them in chains.
We routed them from the library, but I'll make sure nothing was damaged or stolen.
I'm glad to see you again, friend. I just wish your arrival didn't coincide with another crisis. A contingent of knights from the Society of the Steadfast entered the castle. Not in and of itself a concern, we are allies after all. But we weren't informed of a visit. When one of my knights saw them go into the library, she went to investigate. She discovered them ransacking the library. They attacked her, but she was able to fend them off and summon help. My knights routed the villains, but we're unsure if anything was stolen, or if there are more of them hiding elsewhere in the castle. The Ascendant Order? The rogue knights that gave you trouble back on High Isle. What would they be seeking in my castle? Then those imposters must have been looking for the Druid King's crown. Come, we need to check the library at once. And later, I want to hear more about your accusations concerning Lord Bacaro. I assumed it would be safe enough locked in a case in the library until I could make other arrangements. We had no reason to believe the relics were in danger. Besides, I only returned to the castle a moment before you arrived. At the docks preparing to receive Lord Bacaro's ship and the relief supplies he promised. It never arrived. I suppose that was all part of the ruse based on what you just told me. Now, let's go make sure the crown is still safely locked away. The library is this way. Damn their eyes, they ransacked the place. Let's see if the case is still here.
You're too late, fools. The crown belongs to the Ascendant Order now.
No, the case is empty. But how do they know to search the library, let alone behind the shelves? They stole the crown right out of my own castle. How is this possible? You said Lord Bacaro is behind this. I think you better tell me what you know. If you go back far enough, most Bretons have a druid hiding somewhere in their bloodline, but so many records have been lost. How could he be certain? Regardless, why the ruse with the peace talks and the Ascendant Order? So Bacaro was behind it all. The attempts on the lives of the Alliance leaders, the death of the Archdruids of Raval and my father. Wait, Druid Laurel! The staff, Laurel and Free, are in danger! Orlaith may have believed in a new age, but Bacaro is leading us toward the Green Scourge. King Cassarain's prophecy of the return of the Druid King. It predicts two possibilities. Either an era of peace and harmony, or a time of nature run amok. Go to Glimmertarn and make sure Laurel and the staff are safe. I'll gather what knights I can spare. See if Captain Siravane is willing to aid us once more. I have a feeling we'll need all the help we can get to stop Bacaro and his Ascendant Order. Siravane is a mercenary, but she and her gilded blade proved themselves trustworthy against the dread sails and the Firesong. Since then, we've been paying her to help with the relief efforts. We needed every ship we could hire. I won't know until I ask. And if she refuses, you'll still have House Mornard at your side in the battle to come. Now hurry, my friend. Go make sure the staff and Druid Laurel are safe.
Druidkin! Oh, thank Ifray you're here. Something terrible has happened. This way! Rot in damnation! Lord Bacaro, he betrayed us! Lord Bacaro and a contingent of steadfast knights arrived with their usual crates of supplies. He took me aside, warned me that the Ascendant Order was after the Druid King's regalia. He wanted to make sure the staff was still safe. Blighted all. But I did just what you'd expect. He's our ally. Or I thought he was. I showed him that the staff was safe, and he grabbed it. Ordered his knights to hold us back. He has all 3 of the regalia, friend. All 3. We tried to resist, but we were no match for his knights. Then Bacaro displayed the regalia, proclaimed himself the Druid King, and commanded Free to follow him. And they did. That's when Lady Arabelle arrived. Wait, Stefan, is he all right? As soon as I explained what happened, Lady Arabelle and her companions went after Bacaro. I told them we saw him leading Free toward Ifray's path. I stayed behind to tend to the wounded. But this smacks of the Green Scourge. I'll go with you. How should I know how that blighter thinks? Lady Arabelle told me that he's the Ascendant Lord, which now makes sense. As soon as he revealed his treachery, his knights threw off their cloaks and revealed themselves to be the Ascendant Order. I'm not sure. Other than Orlaith, no one else has ever attempted to claim the title. At least not to my knowledge. Is it enough to just possess the regalia? Is that why he needs Free? To legitimize his claim? I'm not sure. Still, this is bad. In every way. Everything I know tells me the Druid King can command nature. Wield it like a tool or a weapon. If the title is taken by force, the prophecy tells us it begins an age of destruction. The Green Scourge. It's from the dream of Kasserine, the prophecy of the Druid King. One choice, one will, one binding word, shall bless or scourge all lands. Since those lines were carved into the Telling Stone, they've become the basis for our 2 possible futures. The blessing of the Green Reward, or the curse of the Green Scourge. One ushers in an age of harmony with nature. The other predicts a world under siege by an angry and vengeful wilderness. 2 possibilities. One Druid King. The Druids have argued about that for generations. From what you found at Ivyheim, it's clear Kasserine believed the reward would come when the Circles reunited and selected a new king, while a usurper would summon the Scourge. A tyrant like Bacaro.
We lost Bacaro in Ifray's path. Lady Arabelle is still out there.
Thank you, Nairon. The Druidkin and I will take it from here.
Oh, the carvings here are exquisite.
Been playing so much tribute.
Over there. That's one of Lady Arabelle's companions.
5 Claw! Oh, thank the moons! The others followed Lord Bacaro. Go and help them. Lady Arabelle is very brave. Barely recovered from nearly dying, and already chasing villains into a desolate and scary valley. Hurry, 5 Claw. You must go help her. Zaji decided to wait out here for you, Five Claw. Yes, Zaji waited to direct you. It is easy to get lost in such places, yes? Oh, thank you, Five Claw. Zaji will go back to the Druid village and wait for you there. Look for Casca. She is a great tracker. If she hasn't found Bacaro yet, she will shortly.
They went this way.
Good to smell you,
giant
Five
cat
Claw.
that accompanied Lady
Ivana thinks
Arabelle.
Bacaro came here for a purpose. He's not far ahead. Rivana told me to wait here. She wanted to make sure that Druid Laurel or whoever came after us knew where to go. She doesn't know what. They headed west and followed Bacaro into Ifre's path. Bacaro left some knights behind to slow us down, but I took care of them. Did you happen to see Zaji on your way here? Now that you're here, I'll head back too. I could be more helpful at the Druid village than in a cramped cavern. You might not believe this, but sometimes my size can be a hindrance. Just make sure to bite Bacaro a few times for me.
The ruins on the western wall of the hollow. That's got to be where everyone headed. There's a druid ahead.
Over here, my friend. Lady Arabelle followed them through that door. Lady Arabelle said you'd find us. Told me to wait here and point the way. She followed Bacaro, the Ascendant Lord, through that door over there. Go help her. I'm still not sure she's fully recovered from the effects of the poison. Just speculation, really. Ifre's path is a sacred place, and such locations contain power if you know how to draw upon it. The Stone Lore Circle, at least, will never accept his claim, not unless forced to. Not to mention the Three Alliances. Bacaro is going to need more than the regalia and his small army of knights to accomplish his ultimate goal, to rule all of Tamriel. She's definitely on the mend, but she should be resting. Running after the so-called Ascendant Lord can be hazardous to her condition in a number of ways. Go after her, my friend. Keep her safe and deal with Bacaro before things get worse.
All these plants were recently torn away. This door must have been hidden for ages. That's Lady Arabelle. What's she doing?
Careful, dears, and watch where you step. Now, don't be alarmed, dear, but I happen to have stepped where I shouldn't have. I suppose I owe Druid Ravana an apology. The lingering effects of the poison do seem to have made me somewhat discombobulated. A pressure plate, I think. Some sort of trap put here who knows when, and by who knows who. That can wait, though. I followed Lord Bacaro in here. He met with a group of druids. Firesong, I think. He promised them vengeance against the Stone Lore. The nature spirit? Yes, they were here. I couldn't quite tell if they were a prisoner or not. Bacaro did say he needed them to talk to Ifre's path, whatever that means. You need to go after them, my dear. Oh, I agree. But that's not going to be done quickly. And as long as I remain in place, we are all perfectly safe. You go on ahead. Druid Laurel can stay here and help me disarm this insidious contraption.
Don't move, Lady Arabelle. Let me see what I can do.
Not a must, my dear lady. Go, my dear. Find Vaccaro and free.
Someone approaches. Don't let them reach the ritual site.
Ascendant Knights. Firesong ally.
Do not do this.
Obey your king, Sower. The spirit here will awaken and do my bidding. The prophecy demands it.
Is with you. I can feel it.
We shall start by punishing the Stone Law. Servants of Ifray, come forth! Obey your king. Destroy the Stone Law Circle and their allies.
Come back here, Vaccaro! Coward!
Interesting. An old druidic summoning chamber. I want to examine these carvings.
Damn my clumsiness. If not for the fact that we were delayed by that trap, we could have been here to help you with that creature. Then maybe Lord Vaccaro wouldn't have been able to slip away. I assume this was at least in part a test of sorts, to see if he could actually call forth a spirit and command it. Plus, he wanted to prove to his followers that he is worthy of the Druid King's regalia. Somewhere he can further strengthen and consolidate his power, especially since he knows we're onto him. Druid Laurel is examining the stone carvings. Perhaps they can tell us something. Take a look and talk to her, dear.
These carvings tell an interesting story. Take a look, my friend. This carving shows the Druid King binding a spirit into Mount Firesong. This carving depicts the spirit slumbering within the volcano. See the Druid King's regalia? This carving indicates a possible future. See how the spirit awakens and the volcano erupts? It's a warning.
I always say, when someone gives you a warning, it's best to take heed.
Ancient druids called upon the spirits of the green at their own peril. Only the Druid King was ever able to do so safely. It's why we abandoned the practice long ago. This is where they did it. At least where some of them did it. Like so much of the ancient knowledge that remains, these carvings are open to interpretation. Obviously, we can see the spirits of the green, forces of nature in the bosom of Ifray. Then we see a spirit slumbering beneath Mount Firesong. Very much so. And the spirit must be extremely powerful due to how sacred Mount Firesong is. I think that's what the final carving tells us. Let the sleeping spirit lie. For generations, that's been one of the Firesong's primary purposes. I think Bacaro plans to call forth the spirit of Mount Firesong with the Druid King's regalia. With a spirit of that magnitude, the armies of Tamriel won't stand a chance. Go to Vastir, and tell Stefan to prepare his ships. We must go to Iphelon.
If we're going to stop Bacaro, we're going to need help. Go to Castle Mornard and rally Count Stefan's knights. I'll make sure the rest of us are ready.
I hope you'll reconsider. This threat endangers us all.
The Gilded Blades aren't mercenaries to call on to clean up your mess, Count Stefan.
My knights are ready, but Captain Siravain isn't convinced she wants to join us in this particular fight. But never mind that. Is Druid Laurel all right? Is the Sacred Staff safe? Damn it all to oblivion. At least Laurel is all right. I've assembled what knights I can spare, but we could really use Siravain and the Gilded Blades. Maybe you can convince her to help. I'd appreciate it. I've been banging my head against that particular wall for hours now. Remind her that if Lord Bacaro takes control of the archipelago, any safe ports she has on Galen will evaporate like a drop of water in a hot skillet.
I can never get enough of the food you landbound eat. It's so delicious. The Lordling sent you over to convince me to help, didn't he? My answer is the same. Why should I care about your political drama? And that concerns me how, exactly? If druids want a king or not, that's their business, not mine. Sea Lord Nalos was my problem, and I took care of it. What happens on Galen next doesn't matter to me. Just because our purposes aligned once doesn't mean we'll sail side by side forever, mercenary. We both wanted Nalos dead, and now he is. That was a win for both of us. I'd need a more compelling reason to risk my crew again. That is certainly something I hadn't considered. I do like the safe haven that the Lordling has provided us with. And what was that about allies? Bacaro is working with the Firesong? All right. You convinced me. My ship is yours, for now.
I knew you'd come around, Siravain. Let's meet at the Vastir docks.
It's good to see you, dear. And is that Count Stefan? Glad House Mornard could join us, Your Excellency. Captain Zaji's ship is ready to sail. Next stop, Iphelon. Come, dear. Laurel, Ravana, and I talked during the voyage. If Lord Bacaro truly means to awaken the spirit of the volcano, he's going to need to do it from inside Mount Firesong. And since he knows we're coming, he'll throw everything he has in our way. Sleight of hand, my dear. Count Stefan and Captain Siravain landed farther up the beach. While our allies draw attention at the main entrance, you and I will follow in their wake and find another way into the mountain. Laura wasn't sure, but she thinks she remembers a cave to the right of the main entrance. Let's search around. If nothing else presents itself, we'll see where that cave leads.
The Ascendant Order's forces pulled back to the main entrance into the mountain. Siravain and her pirates went after them.
His Ascendant Order barnacles are cowards. They flee at the first sign of a worthy opponent.
This tunnel cuts deep into the mountain. Hopefully it will lead us to Lord Bacaro. Firesong druids, proceed with caution here.
The Druid King calls forth the spirit of the volcano. Soon our enemies will perish in lava and flame.
Bacaro has started. We have to hurry. The lava is rising. We don't have much time.
Step into the wind vortex.
your avatars to destroy my enemies! Of Mount Firesong! Lend me your strength! Give me the power to destroy my enemies! I am Lord Bacaro, the Ascendant Lord, the Druid King. Soon, the alliances will be nothing but cinders and ash!
is no spirit to comment now. The false king is gone, but so is the spirit of the mountain. Without a spirit to comment, Mount Firesong's rage will continue unchecked. Perhaps, if the balance is restored, a new spirit must fill the void in Mount Firesong's heart. I will be that spirit. It means I will calm the volcano before it destroys the archipelago. Attempt to contain most of the damage to Ipholon. But I will need your help, friend of Laurel. Friend of Free. Place the regalia to form a circle around me. Then command me to bind myself to the mountain. You are not the Druid King, but with the regalia and my willingness, the binding should hold. Then I will do what I can to quiet the volcano. I will remain, but I will be different. As the seed becomes a tree, I shall become the spirit of the mountain, and I will slumber, as will Mount Firesong. Now take the crown and the gauntlet and place them around me. Quickly, friend. Place the gauntlet and crown to form a ritual circle. Now he is the spirit of Mount Firesong. Now the volcano will be still. Goodbye, friend. And friend.
Where did you come from, Five Claw? You made Zaji's heart skip a beat, yes?
The volcano erupted, but except for the top of the mountain, Ipholon is intact. I very much want to hear what happened, dear. I got everyone back to the ship before the volcano fully erupted. But even so, I'm surprised we're all still alive. Care to enlighten us about what happened inside Mount Firesong, dear? Free was able to contain all that power. They saved the archipelago, the Alliance leaders, all of us. But where's Free now? Why didn't they return with you? You said they took the place of the spirit. What does that mean? Oh, poor Free. Their sacrifice saved us all. I'll remember them fondly for that. And you're sure Lord Bacaro is defeated? Without their leader, his ascendant order should fade away. But what happened to the Druid King's regalia, dear? It's just as well. As long as the Druids remain divided, they aren't ready for a new king. And I'm not sure how Emmerich and the others would react to another royal in their midst. Well, talk to our friends, dear. Then we should return to Vastir.
I'm sorry we couldn't figure another way to get out of this. Free shouldn't have had to sacrifice themselves to save the rest of us. I'm just glad you stopped Bacaro. Now maybe we can finally start to rebuild Galen. All this death and destruction because Bacaro wanted to dig up some ancient Breton legacy. If I learned anything from my time with the Druids, it's that they don't need a king or a prophecy to make the world a better place. They just need to do it. Don't be silly, of course I do. But that legacy isn't crowns and gauntlets. It's people. Born of humans and elves to become something altogether new. It's magic, druids, and knightly orders. That's the Breton legacy I believe in. It's the best of us.
I'm glad you were with Free inside the mountain, my friend. I'll never forget what they did to save us all. Free isn't gone, friend. They've just become something more. As a tree grows from seed to sapling to massive oak, so too has Free transformed. They're still with us, asleep in Mount Firesong, keeping us safe from the power of the volcano. Whenever you want to see Free, just look toward Mount Firesong. They're a part of it now. The spirit of the mountain. I need to tell the druids what happened here. Let them learn the last lesson the sower had to teach us. Sacrifice.
That's a whale of a story, mercenary. But I think I prefer having you with me than against me. So, at least for now, you have the respect of the Gilded Blades and their captain. The Gilded Blades handled themselves well, as always. And when Lady Arabelle sounded the warning, we headed to the nearest ship and set sail. For me, that happened to be this one. And that's intense. Can't say I'd have done the same, but I can respect someone willing to give up their life to save others. It isn't particularly the Sea Elf way, but still. I think I'll drink to Free whenever I sail past the mountain.
Over here, my dear. Count Stefan and I have something for you. You're really making a habit out of saving the archipelago, and of aiding me. Thanks to you, we revealed Lord Bacaro as a traitor, saved the islands from an erupting volcano, and ended the threat of the false Druid King. Well done, my dear. Don't worry about them. Without a leader, they'll quickly fade away. Now we just need to proceed with the peace talks. We're back on track and the archipelago is safe thanks to you. Now take this. Count Stefan and I wanted you to have it. We did well, dear, but the work isn't finished yet. I could use a hand if you're still so inclined. While I return to High Isle and make final preparations for the peace talks to commence, I'd like you to help Druid Laurel with one more thing. When you're finished, meet me at Mandrake Manor. I'll let her give you the details. I will say this, though. You've certainly made an impression on the Stone Lord Druids, dear. Druid Laurel will tell you what she needs. Just don't dawdle. Finish things here, then meet me on High Isle. We've had the Alliance leaders waiting quite long enough, and I have to make some arrangements with the Society of the Steadfast. Despite Lord Bacaro's betrayal, the Society has done good work here in the Sisters and back in Tamriel. I'd hate to lose that, but you're quite correct. I need to determine if the Society is trustworthy. I'll start by meeting with Captain Marguerite. The Society attracted many good people who have done a lot of good work. I won't see that die with Bacaro. I want the organization to continue if at all possible.
Galen and the entire archipelago owe you a debt, my friend. You have my thanks.
The Druids will never forget what you and Free did to save us. Lady Arabelle said she could spare you, and I appreciate the help. Before Free was taken by Lord Bacaro, they gave me something. Told me what to do with it if they didn't return. I thought Free was just being cautious, but I think they knew. That they weren't coming back. Free gave me a pouch of soil. They said it was special. That they prepared it as part of their purpose. You remember how Free would go on and on about that. Anyway, they asked me to go to the overlook north of Glimmertarn, to sprinkle the soil from the pouch there. I made a promise, and I'd like you to fulfill it with me. I think Free would want you to be a part of this. Will you help me, friend? Here, take the pouch of soil. There's a beautiful tree by the overlook, tall and majestic. I think that's the perfect place to honor Free's wishes. I'll meet you there. That's the tree. Free was quite fond of it. Go ahead and sprinkle the soil around its base. I thought for sure something would happen, but this is wonderful. Friend, let me tell you what Free has done. Did you see what happened, friend? What Free asked us to do with that pouch of soil? It's a miracle. Of course, after everything you've done for us, I still forget sometimes that you're not a druid. Free had a special connection to the sacred seeds. They used their power as a nature spirit, as the sower, to put some of that magic into the soil. It means that the sacred seeds aren't gone, that the Druid King's regalia will return, someday. Until that time, we'll need to protect this tree. Nurture it. I'll make sure that all the circles know. We'll find a way to do it together. Trust has to start somewhere. But we still need to gather the elders and form a new Drafa. After that, I'll broach the subject. In the meantime, I'll commune with the tree, with the growing seeds. And I'll be here when they finally blossom. I think that's everything, my friend. Thanks again for helping me honor Free's request. I hope they find peace and happiness inside the volcano. Anyway, I think you should head back to High Isle now. I know Lady Arabelle is eager to begin the talks. Free made their decision. Without their sacrifice, none of us would have survived the volcano's eruption. I'll find time to go to Mount Firesong, to commune with the new spirit of the volcano. Sometimes bound spirits respond. Sometimes they don't. Oh, Free will commune with me if they're able, but every spirit binding is different. Some can communicate freely, others can only share impressions. And then there are the ones that more or less slumber, as Free did before they were awakened.
I assure you, Lady Arabelle, I'm more committed than ever to the Society of the Steadfast's mission of peace.
I'm glad to hear you say that, Captain. Ah, good, you're back. Captain Marguerite and I were just having the most illuminating discussion, dear. Other than some misdirection at the end, Lord Bacaro never allowed his clandestine activities with the Ascendant Order to spill over into the Society of the Steadfast. Yes, dear, I am. Captain Marguerite's reputation is impeccable, and I've begun to study their ledgers. Nothing is amiss. I'll get someone I trust to perform a thorough investigation, but the Society has done too much good to shut it down now. Just about. Preparations are underway at All Flags Islet, but I have a task for you. I'd like you to invite Count Stefan, Druid Laurel, and Druid Ravana for the talks. They deserve to have a voice in the proceedings. Captain Zaji and Casca, too. I think Zaji and Casca should get to see the negotiations unfold, but to have them participate, oh goodness no, dear. So, invite Stefan, Laurel, and the rest, and remind Stefan I'm depending on House Mornard for added security.
Captain Marguerite was as good as her word. Get those supplies distributed at once.
Right away, Count Stefan.
Friend, welcome back to Castle Mornard. Lady Arabelle told me to trust Captain Marguerite, and so far so good. The Society of the Steadfast restarted their relief efforts, and things have been moving smoothly ever since. But what brings you back to Galen, friend? Does she now? And what role would a minor count play in discussions concerning the greater fate of all of Tamriel? No, forgive me, friend. It's just been a lot lately, of course. Ah, yes. After all this trouble, such a request isn't all that surprising. Very well. Tell Lady Arabelle Count Stefan shall attend the peace talks with a contingent of his finest knights at his side. Will that do? How my father ever accomplished anything with the constant parade of supplicants and requests, I'll never understand. Or Archdruid Revolve, for that matter. Now I know what it's like when everyone is constantly vying for a moment of your attention. No, it's not all that bad. Stressful, yes, but rewarding in its own way. You know, I really do like making decisions that help people. And I've even gotten the nobles and druids to sit down together. Once. Maybe my plans will work out after all.
Blight it all. We have to find a way for the circles to work together.
The Eldertide are willing, but we have yet to choose new leaders, and we still distrust the Firesong.
The Firesong are aware of our mistakes. We don't expect forgiveness, but we want a chance to make amends. I promise our next leader will have less aggressive aspirations.
Blight and damnation. Trying to get the druid circles to agree on anything is like trying to herd fawns. But you're not here to deal with my problems. Not this time. What can I do for you, my friend? Really? After you just saw my negotiating skills in action? Wait, you're serious? Well, why not? I definitely want what's best for my people. And maybe I can learn something watching the Alliance leaders. I'll be happy to attend. And just between us, the talks with the Druid circles aren't going too badly. I just lose patience sometimes. I want everything to happen right now. But flowers blossom when they're ready, am I right? What? Did Stefan say something? What are you asking? Count Stefan and I are getting along fine. Never better. And I'd rather not talk about this at the moment, if that's all the same to you.
Ready to sail the moment Queen Irene calls for us.
The bounce is ready. I could use some quiet time for a change.
Maybe you spoke too soon, Casca. Look who it is. Always a pleasure, Five Claw, but you also tend to bring trouble to Zaji. And more work. So what is it this time? A Periite cult? Vampire armies from deep underground, what? Zaji and Casca are invited? Well, as expected, of course. After all Zaji has done, it is only natural to want him there to observe, and to keep the Queen and the others safe. But Casca too, really? Oh, very well, if Lady Arabelle insists. Zaji and Casca will leave for the islet at once, and will bring along a few of the Pounce's crew. A little extra muscle never hurts, yes? There is always a chance, Five Claw. It may be very, very small. So small that you cannot see it with the naked eye, but it is there nonetheless.
Friend, what a pleasant surprise. What brings you back here so soon, friend? Not another danger to the archipelago, I hope. I'm neither an elder nor an archdruid. Shouldn't Lady Arabelle invite one of them? Most of the surviving senior members of the Circle are deep in discussions about the Dreyfa. Very well. Tell her I'll attend the talks. I'm pleased that Lady Arabelle thought to include the druids of the archipelago in the peace talks. As you have seen, events on the mainland reach even to our distant shores. Still, I wish we had archdruids or elders available for the task. Perhaps one day, but I'm much too young to be called an elder. Don't you agree? As for archdruid, one doesn't just receive that accolade. Only druids of immense presence and power ever achieve such a rank. Will I someday? We shall see.
Over here, dear. Time to get this conference started. I see everyone has arrived. Well done, dear. And I did my part as well. The Alliance leaders are already downstairs. Oh, just the usual hemming and hawing. I just applied my natural charisma and threatened them with bodily harm. The leaders do want a word with you, though, if you're willing to indulge them.
Lord Baccaro a villain. Rogue knights collaborating with druids? And what was that about sea elves? This visit to the archipelago has been one surprise after another. I owe you a lot, friend. You saved my life, and you saved my realm. I've ignored the druids of the archipelago for too long. The few I've met over the years seem, well, quaint, eccentric. I thought their insistence on clinging to the ancient ways was harmless. But I forgot about the dark roots of their tradition. The weirds of High Rock distanced themselves from politics, but the druids of old were a different breed. They used fearsome magic to rule over the early Bretons, either directly or from behind the scenes, and they jealously guarded their power. Why in oblivion not? I've been here this long. What's another few days? If the Breton legacy has a dark side, it also shows courage and commitment. If Irene and Ernskar are willing to talk, so am I. But I wonder if Lord Baccaro had the right idea. Oh, not about the whole Ascendant Lord and murder thing, but about finding someone other than one of us to sit on the throne. I can't imagine Irene or Yoren agreeing to bow down to me willingly, and I feel the same way. We'll just have to see.
There you are. And the hero of the day again. I knew we weren't done with the Ascendant Order after the assault on All Flags Islet. But I never imagined it was Lord Baccaro who betrayed us. That's what my father would expect. But I don't feel that I'm quite done here yet. Nothing in my instructions covers what's happened so far, and Lord Baccaro's treachery calls into question the very sanctity of these peace talks. I wouldn't say that. I came here to do a job, and I think it can still be done. I plan to send word to the Skull King, tell him I'm staying, at least as long as Emmerich and Irene agree. Lord Baccaro may have deceived us, but peace is still possible. He won't be happy about the way Lord Baccaro manipulated him. But when I explain what happened here, and what you did, friend, he'll support my decision. He really is an excellent king, my father. But don't tell him I said that.
I like to think I'm not easily fooled. But not in 1,000 years would I have guessed that Lord Baccaro was the secret leader of the Ascendant Order. No one argued more eloquently for a lasting peace than he did. The revelation that these talks were merely part of the Ascendant Lord's plan to seize power makes it difficult. But as far as we can tell, the Society of the Steadfast Intentions are pure. And I think Lord Baccaro might have outsmarted himself. Baccaro wanted to prove his worth. Show us that by blood and circumstance, he was the best suited to take power. Instead, through his actions as the Ascendant Lord, Emmerich, Ernskar, and I learned that we could actually work together. I think so, yes. I've come to believe that Emmerich and Ernskar want peace as badly as I do, and I'm willing to see where these discussions lead. We may not come to any conclusions, but isn't the possibility worth the effort? I think it is.
Your attention, please. Lady Arabelle requests that everyone join her in the reception hall. Friend, may we speak? Finally, we get a moment to ourselves. I did want to speak with you before Lady Arabelle gets on with the important business. I wanted Damn, this went better in my head. I've never been as good at speaking my mind as my father was, or Archdruid Reval. Now he was an orator. Sorry, I'm babbling. Let me start over. Thank you for everything, my friend. Now don't start with that sort of nonsense. Of course I need to thank you. You saved us all. What kind of count would I be? What sort of friend? If I didn't let you know how much what you've done for us means to me. All right, I've taken up enough of your time. I know how eager Lady Arabelle is to get the peace talks underway. We'll talk later. Now go speak to Lady Arabelle and let her know everything is ready for her to begin.
Have I mentioned how much I detest public speaking? Goes against all my training as a spy and agent of the king. I'm supposed to hear all the important bits of dialogue, not recite them. Ah, well, before all that, I want to share something with you. Yes, I do. As we conclude this business with Lord Bacaro and the Ascendant Order, I want you to know how much your help has meant to me. Take this as payments for services above and beyond the call of duty. Now, I have a speech to deliver, my dear. We stand here today because of Lord Bacaro. What he brought together through the Society of the Steadfast, and what he tried to bring about as the Ascendant Lord. Instead of dividing us, instead of defeating and conquering us, he showed us what's possible when we work side by side. And through the courage and sacrifice of many of the people gathered here, as well as the nature spirit free, we persevered and won the day. Now to our royal guests, I say, let's recognize our friend, and then start the talks.
Our friend has performed above the call of duty. I name them Champion of the Covenant.
Not so fast, Emmerich. I name them Champion of the Dominion.
Then I name them Champion of the Pact.
Your Majesties, please! All of that would never fit on the medal. Let's just agree on Champion of the Alliances, shall we?
Oh, very well.
I can live with that.
If you insist.
This is the part of the story I hate the most, when we must inevitably say goodbye. As much as I try to avoid it, I have a terrible habit of growing quite attached to the people I work with. All that said, I will miss you most emphatically, my dear. My contract with the Society of the Steadfast doesn't end until the peace talks conclude, and who knows how long the Alliance leaders will yell at each other now that they've finally started. After that, some travel, some writing, some time to relax. Truthfully, I'm not sure. I hope Emmerich and the others can work something out. There's been more than enough blood spilled over the Ruby Throne for my taste. Alas, things like this aren't up to me. I do think there's a chance, though, thanks to you. These accusations that I'm some clandestine writer of tawdry thrillers are beginning to rankle, dear. I understand that the next Vale novel will feature an unlikely location, a new romantic interest, and a villain of epic proportions. Or so I heard. I rarely have to look, dear. They seek me out. I would like a little time to recover from this ordeal, though. My old bones don't spring back like they once did. And I really want to find someone to, let's say, share a bottle or two with, yes?
I assume you're off on another adventure after this. Take me with you. I'm not sure I'm ready to deal with the responsibilities that come with my new title. No. Both my father and Archdruid Reval taught me better than that. It is tempting, though, to pick a direction and just go. But there are challenges to take on right here in the archipelago. I think I'm actually looking forward to them. After all that has happened, I suppose I can confide in you. I'm going to ask Druid Laurel to stay in Vastir. Help me as a liaison between the city and the Druid circles. And if we also find time to renew a friendship of old, well, we shall see.
What an inspiration you are. So productive and efficient. Watching your promotion from lowly guard to a mineral surveyor to savior of the Isles gives me hope. It also makes me a bit jealous. I worked so hard. I hope my efforts pay off financially. Naturally, one must always stay working. Maximizing effort means increased income and respect. I should offer my services to all the assembled dignitaries. That's how I get my name out there.
I should have known you had a hand in all of this, outsider. You seem to have a knack for making hopeless situations turn out for the better. We left the path in the care of the animals who roam it. I have no doubt that they'll be able to deter outsiders from wandering too far into our sacred site. Other druids will join us there soon, and we will rebuild our halls of men. What choice do we have? Our stories and history are important, perhaps now more than ever. If my understanding of recent events is true, then you know the dangers of burying or misinterpreting the past. History should be learned from, not repeated.
That Druid Laurel of the Stonelore Circle. She's trying to get us all to work together. I suppose these peace talks are giving us all ideas. As well as can be expected, Pitoff and I are figuring out what it means to be chroniclers. I mean, without the help of a nature spirit. And we talked with Druid Laurel. I think we're going to allow druids from the other circles to come help us.
You eliminated most of my rivals, adventurer. Even the few I once considered allies. Lady Arabelle was right to involve you in the affairs of the archipelago. Things may have taken a bad turn without your intervention. High Isle will remember you.
Hey, good looking. Did you miss me? I did go back to the mainland, but a new opportunity went sideways and it seemed prudent to disappear again. You know how it is. And I never miss a party. That's one of the 3 inalienable rules I live by. The other... I would like to see how the peace talks turn out. And Lady Arabelle implied she might have more work for me. Something more substantial than ferrying messages. I think she plans to ask me to be her partner. What? It could happen.
The Society of the Steadfast will continue to provide help wherever it is needed. Whether war or disaster, we will be there to heal, to feed, and to shelter. I give you my word. Lord Baccaro's treachery was his alone. The Society's mission remains.
Well, that's done. What's next for us, I wonder? I do like it here on Galen, and I enjoy spending time with Laurel and Stefan. But I'm an adventurer at heart. The sea calls to me. Perhaps we'll cross paths again, mate. Stranger things have happened.
So much death and destruction because a man spoke a few words in the ancient past. I think I may have learned as much as I care to about the Druid King. Now I need to look to the future. We all do. And we can, thanks to you. Well, not completely. There are still mysteries to solve, secrets to learn. But I also need to concern myself with the present, the future. What's next for the Stonelore and the Druid circles? How do we move forward from here? I do love a challenge. Stefan suffered some great losses. We all did. But he's strong. He'll make a good leader for Galen. And the Druids are already responding to his overtures. Oh, You mean, that's rather personal, even for us. But Stefan and I, we'll see.
You and Count Stefan have given the Elder Tide much to consider. We always guarded these islands against outsiders. Pirates, yes, but also nobles, settlers, and townsfolk. Now I see we may find friends where once we saw enemies.
My circle lost its way under Archdruid Orlaith. Some of us knew it, but we had gone too far. All we could do was fight on and hope that Orlaith's victory would be worth the price. I regret the things we did and promise to make up for it. Prophecy and faith are powerful things, outsider. And Orlaith told very convincing stories with her words. By the time I saw the truth of where she was leading us, there was no way to oppose her. Orlaith was just too powerful. It's true that a small number of Firesong cling to Orlaith's lies. But the rest of us, we want to make amends. Work with the other circles and see what comes of Count Stefan's overtures. We'd like to be part of the future of the archipelago.
Look around, friend. All these people are here because of you. I don't know what we would have done without you.
Now the discussions to resolve seasons of conflict begin. This is an important moment, friend. And you made it happen. Even if the peace talks fail, good things will come of this. They must. And know that you always have a place with the Stone Lore.
All these lords and ladies. Usually I stay out of sight around these types. I'm not sure how to act while mingling with them. It's worth it to celebrate you, partner. You always seem to show up just when you're needed. We met our contact after leaving Lanshara. I thought Umindior would take credit, but he didn't care. All he could think about was that Neri woman. The pay was good, but the experience was more important. I really think this is the life for me. Zira keeps me busy. Grab a relic here, some accounting ledgers there. Honestly, it's great. I get to see all of Tamriel, then return to my new home in Abar's Landing. If you ever hear of some fancy jewels going missing, think of me. We met our contact after leaving Lanshara.
I suppose I should offer my congratulations. Not only did you help Quen and me, but I understand you calmed the volcano. Nicely done. Maybe next you could do something about mud crabs. I really despise the shells and those weird eye stalks.
Well, look at you, the hero of the archipelago. Mind if I tell some of the nobles that I know you? Maybe they know someone who could help me change Ogden back to how he's supposed to be. Not yet, but I think we're getting closer. Druid Fennis isn't giving up, and neither am I. He's been talking to druids from all the circles. Sooner or later, someone will think of something. In the meantime, I'm saving a lot of gold on candles.
For such a warlike people, you do seem obsessed with the notion of peace, mercenary. Sure, you and I learned to work together this time. But the next? We're just as likely to cross swords as break bread. That's not a threat, just an observation.
Congratulations, friend. You earned every honor the Society and the other alliances want to bestow on you, as well as the gratitude of the Ebon Heart Pact. I'll get the Skull King to issue a separate proclamation. He'll be sorry he missed all this.
Let me add my thanks to all these accolades, my friend. Your courage and resolve stopped a true villain from gaining terrible power, and you saved many lives. You have the gratitude of the Aldmeri Dominion, and of its queen.
Well done, my friend. Well done. The Daggerfall Covenant will not forget your actions here in the archipelago, and on a more personal note, neither will I. Now, we can get on with these blasted talks. Finally. Thanks to you.